we have the private money lender. Who are you, brother, and what do you do?
Sure. Well, first off, thank you for inviting us, man. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. Happy Sunday to you, and happy Sunday to everybody that's out there, right? Today is a great day. So yeah, I'm Randy Chalmers. I'm the private money lender. And as a result of what I do, I help my students and my investors get access to private capital to fund their real estate deals. They fix and flips, they ground ups, multifamily units, new construction, even small commercial buildings and mixed use properties, without going through the rigorous long hassle from the traditional banks and mortgage companies, right? We know that income verification, the tax returns, all that other good stuff. And so basically I'm just looking to help people who may not be able to qualify for traditional mortgages, but still have the ambition and goal to be able to be, one, a homeowner, and number two, to be a real estate investor.
Cool. That's a lot right then and there. We're just gonna pretty much like pick and choose from different one of those, everything that you mentioned. Who are you, brother?
Emil Hurst Jr., investor agent. Been in the business a little bit, almost 10 years now. Started off as an agent, then went into real estate investing, and now I'm reincarnated back into being an agent. And my whole mission now is to make sure that people buy properties the right way, because over my career, I bought them the wrong way, I financed them the wrong way, I found them the wrong way from the wrong places. So my whole goal right now is to, number one, if you have the ambition and the desire to own property, walking you through exactly how to do that in a way to where you're not putting yourself at a disadvantage, you're not putting your family in a bind, and really enjoying what this industry has to offer, but approaching it with as much education as possible.
Thank you so much, man. And I'm just Berto, the guy that interviews these two professionals, right? Nah, man, thank y'all so much with that. So, I'm in the beauty industry. I've been cutting hair for about 15 years now. And in the industry, to a lot of people, it just starts off as a hustle, right? Quick money, you can make, I don't know, $500, $700, $1,000 in a day, depending on what all you're doing. And if you're just, you ain't got no kids, you ain't got no responsibilities, you ain't got none of these things, you make money fast, but you're spending that money even faster. And if you come from a home like mine, where it wasn't taught to us to be able to invest, my mom's still living paycheck to paycheck, my dad's still living 2 paychecks behind, you know what I mean? And all these different type of areas, a barber comes up in that type of environment. Not all of them, but the ones that are definitely just picking it up, they probably start off at a young age, in the teenage years, and then they get into barber school. But barber school, you pretty much just give them a title, you give them their money, they give you a license, and you go to a shop. You don't know exactly what else to do once you're there, right? So we just really want to educate people on there how they get started with all of this, and the money that they're making, where they can start investing. So that's kind of the topic that we want to definitely be able to hit today on today's show, right? So I got a question for you, right? And with this question is, if I'm in the beauty industry, how should I be doing my taxes for me to be able to get a loan towards my house or any type of property?
Good question. So, that's been the secret to a lot of people's success over the years, is having the right information to be able to be a homeowner without, being able to go to the bank and be able to ask for the bank will ask for the tax returns, right? And so oftentimes we're not aware that there are certain loan products that doesn't need or require tax returns, right? So for example, my first recommendation for best practice would be to consult with a professional mortgage consultant, a licensed mortgage loan originator, particularly somebody that's been referred to you because they shared a track record of helping people in the Because you would be amazed sometimes you have a brand new real estate agent or a brand new mortgage loan originator that just started, but on Instagram, it looks great, right? You know, they closing 10 deals in 1 week, right? They dress beautifully, like it's just amazing. But in the background, sometimes there's some challenges that go on. So my recommendation is, number one, find out referral-wise, who can you work with as a lender that has different loan products.
Excuse me. So when you say this to the people that are a little bit slow like me, right? What you're saying is you don't need to go through no bank. You can go through a private money lender, basically.
No, not necessarily,
Okay.
right? So the private money part is really for your real estate investors. So when we get on that other side of real estate investing, that's where that private money piece comes in. For the home loans, private money lenders only lend on non-owner occupied real estate properties. So the traditional mortgage companies and traditional banks, you'll have to go through those traditionally. But what I am sharing is that the number one place to start at on this journey is to have a consultation and get the education. Here's why.
With somebody like yourself, right?
Correct, exactly.
Okay.
Yep. So we provide free consultation, I like to call it a coaching call, right? On a coaching call, I want to learn your goals, your dreams, and the scenario, like you just said. Hey, do you have your taxes? Have you filed your taxes? We need to know those things. So here's my point, a reason why I'm saying it, because let's say that you go to the traditional bank, that banker doesn't have all the loan products that's available to the industry, and they tell you, hey, listen, you haven't filed your taxes in the last 2 years, right? Or they might tell you, hey, you didn't show enough on your taxes. So you might be making $700 a day, right? $7,000 a week or something, but you're only showing $10,000 for the whole year on your taxes. So when the lender look at your income that you prove, that's proven that you're earning versus your expenses going out, your debt to income ratio is extremely high. You can't get qualified. However, the solution oftentimes from the banking world or traditional mortgage lenders is that, hey, go back and either amend your tax return for the last 2 years, or you're just gonna have to wait till the next 2 years for you to qualify. But by the way, I just did your debt to income ratio calculation, and it looked like you're gonna need to show you earn $75,000 for each year, right? Now, let's think about this. If individuals are in a 20% tax bracket, right? And we take $75,000 from year one on your taxes, times 20%, that's about $15,000 that you owe the IRS, right? Year two, do the same exact calculation, that's $30,000 that you owe the IRS. And we know the IRS don't play, right? They're coming for their money.
Right.
But you haven't been pre-approved yet.
Right.
And so there's loan products that's out there that still today in today's market, it could be a product that don't need tax returns, right? It can go off pretty much bank statement. They still have bank statement loans right now in this current market.
Okay.
And so it's just a strategy. What I like to do when I have that free coaching call, I want to learn their goals, know what's going on with their financials, so that way we can come up with a good strategy, a good plan, and then work that plan. So my point is, not all the time you have to file your taxes to show to meet the debt to income ratio. And the reason why that loan product is called a non-QM loan. Non-QM loan. What that means? That just simply means is non-qualified mortgage. These loans are not being sent to or purchased by Fannie Mae and Freddie, the government entities. So they don't have all those guidelines and rules. Now, that's not for everybody, right? So the traditional way, just like you just mentioned, the traditional way is to have your taxes together, to know what your income is. So that way when you come to the lender, when we look at it, we have your updated profit and loss statement, we have your tax returns, we know what your expenses is going out every month because of what we see on your credit report. So now we take the income that's proven from the IRS and the expenses on your credit report, and that gives us that debt to income ratio. So I just wanted to share that because not always we have to actually file our taxes.
Whenever I'm going to open up my bank account, are you looking for me to be depositing into my business bank account, in my business, in my business paying me weekly, bi-weekly, whatever amount of checks? or are you looking for it to be or it doesn't even matter if it's going towards my personal bank account, and instead of it going directly to my business account for my LLC?
Right.
Does that make sense? Or you want me to break it down a little bit more?
No, I think I have it, and if I don't have it, just correct me.
That's fine.
But it's twofold. So if we go the traditional route, then yes, you want to have it in your personal bank account. So when we ask for the bank statements, we'll be able to see your personal. If we're gonna go the full documentation loan route, without being non-QM or non-qualified mortgage. If we decide based on that consultation over the phone that no, we need to go the non-QM route and don't ask for the tax return, then yes, it's best to have the funds in your business account, because we're gonna pull 2 years, right, 24 months of your business account to see the deposits going in there. And we can base your income qualification for the loan off the income coming in from your bank statement.
Okay, so you pulling everything out of my business account, right? So it don't even matter so much like what's in my personal account, because you're not gonna pull nothing from there. Or am I wrong on that? Is it gonna both vary?
Good question. So in your personal account, we're looking at the cash flows. Like for example, your total amount that you're gonna bring to the closing table, meaning your insurance costs, your title settlement costs, your down payment costs, right? So if you're doing a conventional loan, you might be at 3% down. FHA loan might be at 3.5% loan, right? If you go non-QM, right, non-QM, that's probably gonna be about 10 to 15% down, right? Because it's non-qualified mortgage. But my point is, on a personal bank statement, we just wanna make sure that you have enough to close. So the worst thing that can happen in the world is that you go through all these inspections, you're paying for appraisals, paying for home inspection, plumbing, video, piping inspection, only to get to the closing table, like, I don't have enough money, right? So we want to make sure that you have enough money to close, but far as for income verification, we're looking at the business bank statements for income verification. I hope that makes sense.
I'm kind of backtracking even more, right? This is the thing. This sounds scary to people because it's just the unknown, right? That's where we get the fear from, just the unknown. So, or I'm not professional enough. They use too many fancy words. I'm just too scared to ask and look dumb, right? So, what I'm understanding is you're gonna need 2 years regardless, right? So right now, if you haven't done your taxes in the last 2 years, that's where you need to start at. That's where you need to start at, because you can make that call with that consultant and they're gonna tell you, all right, brother, you got 2 years to go to get everything in order, which is, it's a good place to be just to find that out, right? And some other people, to the ones that have been doing it already for the past 2 years, that call just looks different with you, and you can be able to work off what they did and what they didn't. Because the truth is, people not trying to pay the IRS, right? Because they'd rather save that money, see how much they get back. But the ones that are paying towards it, they're probably not showing as much money towards it, so that means that they can't qualify for a bigger loan, correct?
Correct. Now, it's correct from the traditional thinking and the paradigm that we've been taught over the years, that you have to have these tax returns as a 1099 or a stylist in the industry. But just to backtrack this a little bit, we need 2 years of bank statements, right? So I'm gonna say it in a different way, because I want to make sure everybody, understand. You have on one side the traditional way that we've been taught, that you do need 2 years of tax returns, right, to get qualified for your home mortgage. That's for traditional mortgages. But on another hand, you have what's called non-qualified mortgages, or non-QM. Meaning that the traditional way, FHA, conventional loan, VA, these are basically sold to Fannie and Freddie, right? These government institutions that say, hey, you as a lender, you go and lend as many loans that you can, and we're gonna back these loans up, so you're gonna be okay. So they have certain guidelines and rules like the tax return. However, when we take away that traditional thinking and toss it out the door, then we have the non-QM world, where these loans are not being sold to Fannie and Freddie, no government-backed agency, it's private companies.
Yeah.
And they do home loans. And they know the situation that's going on, that oftentimes tax returns is not filed or not showing enough on the tax return. So they came up with these loan products and say, wait a minute, hold on. Yes, you don't have any taxes to show, or you didn't show enough, but you're a business, and we know you're a thriving business. Go give me the last 2 years of your business bank statements, and then we can use the income that we seen coming in every month, that revenue coming in, we can use that in place of your taxes. I hope that makes sense.
Okay, so you ready for it?
Yeah.
So they pay me in cash, right? So this is what Barber would do. This is why I recommend any barber stylist or anybody that gets paid in cash, whatever business you do. One, you have to take a lick. Not really take a lick. You have to be able to adjust your prices where you're able to pay all your overhead and your taxes, whatever it is that you're charging on that, because a lot of people shy away from, well, I'm not going to use a device to charge with a credit card to have that paper trail, right, of where is it coming from. I'm going to just, because they take money, they take a percentage off of it, from it, right? So it's like, okay, at the end of the month, I gave all these other companies $100, $200, etc., right? So it's like, okay, I'm adjusting my prices where that's already included in there, so I don't take as much of a hit at the end of the month, at the end of the year. So I do that. I do have different application apps that I use to be able to receive money from my clients. But whenever I do receive cash, I go and deposit that same day to the ATM to my business account, and then from there I make a transfer from my business account. I sell it to my personal account. For my accountant, whenever I go and meet with her, she could be able to see what all the traction that was taking place. I say that because, okay, you go and live in an apartment complex, right? They want to know. This is what the lady told me when I was getting this apartment. She said, well, you might be making all this money, but we just don't take cash deposits on there. I said, hold up. I have Zelle deposits on there. Thankfully, my Zelle deposits that said like where that money was coming from was more than enough for me to be able to live there, right? You got to make like double the amount of money. I don't know, if it's $1,000, you got to make $2,000 to live there, or $3,000, something like that, right? So you see what I'm saying? All that. This is what people are getting, that paper trail of, okay, well, I don't want to pay these fees on all these other type of things.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah. So I wanted to add that. Now I also, you can't talk to this guy without talking to this guy. So we want to kind of make that clear. You want to share a little bit about that? What I mean by when I say that?
Yeah, definitely. So as far as people in the industry that either want to get investment property, either want to get their first property, or just another property, whether it's secondary home or anything like that, you could call me and you could say, Mel, I'm looking for a double. Me and my wife, we just got married. We're looking to grow the family. We want to go, we want to move somewhere else. All right, cool. My first question is going to be, are you pre-qualified? Okay, if the answer to that is not yes, then it's no. So from that point is, you need to talk to somebody like Randy, or you need to talk to Randy. And everything that he just explained, because I'm not going to get into the financials, because that's really not really my business until we actually get under contract with a property. And if the sellers are asking me, how confident are you in your buyer's position, then I could kind of give them a 30,000 foot view of, hey, they already talked to a lender, 3, 6, 9 months ago. All of the paperwork is in order. We just looking for a house. Now, what happens with that is, and why you want to follow that chain of command when it comes time to house shopping, when you could drop that pre-approval letter, when you could drop that type of information, even if you have another realtor that's like aggressive like me. I want to talk to the mortgage broker. I want to have a conversation with whoever is doing the mortgage for the buyer, and I'm asking them, hey, I'm asking this to not the agent, I'm asking to the mortgage broker, how confident are you in this loan closing, right? Because if you ask yourself, well, what's in it for the mortgage broker get paid off of a point to the loan. So if he or she is investing their time and investing that time with this buyer, they want to get paid, right? So they're not going to tell you anything. Well, they're not supposed to tell you anything that's going to waste your time or waste their time. So that's why it's important to listen to everything Randy just said. Specifically talk to Randy, or just be in general, talk to somebody like Randy. And once you get that pre-approval, or you get their stamp of, you can start looking for a property 30 days from now, 60 days from now, because this is where we are, then you make the call to me. From there, before that happens, just keep looking on Zillow.
Right.
Because we can't do anything. And it's nothing personal. It's just like when you go to buy a car, it's kind of in the reverse. The car salesperson is going to let you test drive it. They're going to let you, sniff the leather and look under the hood, because they're going to bring you in the back to their own finance person, and they're going to knock you over the head with whatever interest rate they have to get you in the car. Well, and the real estate business is not really like that. Yeah. If it's your personal property, you want to absolutely, especially if you plan on being there, at least for 5 years. The reason why I say that, a lot of these loans have prepayment penalties, right? So if this is my primary house, we want to at least camp out here at least for 5 years, because if we move and sell it under 5 years, the lender is going to charge a penalty on that. So if I'm buying this and, with the intention of moving, that's a conversation you need to have with him, because between the loan products that you two select, you could be charged up to 5% of what the remaining balance is. So hypothetically, you're in the barber beauty industry, so y'all already making a lot of money. So if you qualifying for this $500,000 house and you only stay in it for 1 year, you could potentially be looking at paying 5% of a remaining balance of $400,000 on that loan that you got to pay with that out of your pocket, right? Or out of the proceeds of the difference between what's the house worth and what the new buyer is buying. So when we talk strategy with buying either your primary property or buying an investment property, the education is priceless. I'm telling you, don't go into this thing because of what you saw on Instagram or what you saw on Facebook, because you saw somebody on a podcast or you saw somebody posting, thinking that they just jumped into it. They may or may not have, but it's way easier to get into this game and lose money, whether it's your personal property and for sure your investment properties, that you could really lose your shirt and lose money. So that's why you want to have a conversation with your tax professional first, and then have a conversation with a mortgage consultant to try to put a game plan together and look down on paper and say, okay, this is what I plan to do, this is how I plan to do it, and then we can say this is when I'm going to do it. Now, I don't mind helping you with referrals. I don't mind helping you with narrowing down neighborhoods and narrowing down your price range and insurance people and things like that. But in reality, to get more bang for your buck and leverage, that's the biggest thing. When you pre-qualify and you have that in your back pocket and you know that I could pull the trigger and make an offer on the property and I could close on it, man, sky's the limit. Because I'm a bulldog in negotiations. I'm going to get you exactly what you're looking for and how you're looking for it. But we need that leverage to say, we could close on this ASAP.
We know we can talk all day about somebody getting pre-approved and getting to those steps. But we also have an audience of people, I already got my house, already got my business going.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm tired of paying the landlord this monthly rent of my shop, my beauty salon, and I want to be able to buy the building that I'm at. Is that just a dream far away from people, like non-reachable for how they're operating, or is that like whenever I mention to that, no, this is as easy as ABC. You know what I'm saying? How does that look like for the perspective of a person that has already 2 years, has already probably purchased a home, and now they're looking to get into the business side of things, of starting investing in real estate with commercial property?
Good question. So yeah, I mean, at that point, they did all their due diligence. They have hit some milestones along the way. The financial literacy is on a very high level because they made it to that point. So congratulations to those who have made it, right? But now we're stepping into the commercial lending side of it, right? So the commercial lending side of it with the traditional banks, it's a little bit challenging, like we all know. Like, how many of you guys went to the bank to buy a mortgage? Like, or to buy a house to obtain a mortgage, right? We know the amount of documents, and sometimes it's endless amount of documents that you have to provide. Well, in the commercial world, it's the same thing, right? And so what I've learned through my experience that 80% of small businesses do not qualify for bank loans.
Ooh, you heard that?
80%. And the reason why, because the banks really want the $120 million development project. So that person that's holding on or controlling that $120 million deal, when they go to that bank, the bank not asking them for their tax returns. The bank's not asking them for their profit and loss statements. The bank's not asking for W-2s. They're not even checking their credit score all the time. They just want to know, do you control this $120 million real estate development? And if so, they do the calculations. All right.
What you mean that they control it? Like by what?
By contract. So purchase contract, and Brother Emil very good at acquiring property, so he could expound on it. But control to mean that you have this contract between you and the seller, and you have it locked in. Nobody could buy this property for you. And so now those banks take that $120 million and they time that by the origination points. Let's say it's four origination points, or 4% of the loan amount. That's like $4 million, right? They're like, okay, we can fund this thing. But the challenge is when the one-offs come, the smaller guy come, and we have that one property, now they're asking for the income verifications, tax returns, and all the other rigorous loan documents that come with that lending.
You gotta justify it.
Right. And so what I found the easiest way is to go back to the non-qualified mortgage arena. And in the commercial world, now we can literally do private money lending. As I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, is that part of what I've done over the years, I pulled together private capital, private individuals, private investors that know and understand that, hey, they want to outpace inflation. They want to outpace the return on investment for the stock market, mutual funds, bonds, treasuries, right? So they love to invest in real estate for investment purposes or business purposes only. These in the private money lending world is not for people that's going to occupy the property. It's non-occupied borrowers, meaning the business owner that's looking to buy that purchase, that's looking to purchase that building. So in the private money world, the non-QM world, what we look at is the asset. Does the numbers make sense? Can you potentially cash flow from this investment property? So with that being said, if it can, then you're just going to be putting as a business owner a percentage down for the down payment. But we're not, from a private money lending firm, I'm not going to ask for tax returns, right? Let me give you a quick example. There was one of my clients of mine, my wife is a mortgage lender as well. So my wife actually helped her to close her personal home. $400,000 home, beautiful home, right? But she's been having a daycare for years, like 10, 20 years. But she was prepared, like you mentioned, because a lot of cash coming in. So she had everything prepared. We closed on her home. The time when she closed on her home, at the time she closed on her home, she went and bought her dream car. So life is good, right? Got the dream house, got the dream car, life is good. And then I just bought my dream car. That's how I knew she bought her dream car. I just bought my dream car. She was very transparent, right? I'm like, okay, well, no worries. Listen, I don't need the tax returns. I don't need a profit and loss statement. I don't need none of that. I just need to know, do you have enough cash for the down payment? And if so, we just need to get the values on the property. So long story short, we actually closed that property, And when we closed it, she put our down payment down. The values came back phenomenal. It was spectacular values on it. And we did not ask for tax returns, which means she saved tens of thousands of dollars going to the IRS to file a tax return when she didn't need to. So it goes back to what we was talking about earlier. Your first step is a consultation. Call, contact me, right, or whoever you're gonna contact, and have a talk, a truthful conversation. So like Brother Emil just said, we could put together a game plan to follow. And now all you gotta do is work the plan. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Oh, man. So, okay. Does it look like the same way? I guess in my experience, I've been working with a realtor just to be able to lease out a property, right? What you call commercial property. They say somebody's trying to open up their barber shop and they're just trying to lease it, okay? Typically a realtor will put me on their list, or send me on the list of all the properties that are available towards there. And can you kind of explain what a triple net lease means for those people that are probably like, okay, I probably can't purchase the building yet, but I'm trying to get into opening my own shop, but all I keep hearing is like triple net lease and things like that.
Yeah, that's a good question. And first of all, everything is negotiable. Start off like that. And the more leverage you have in that negotiation with even when it is a lease, depending on who the seller or the owner is or the agent, they still may ask for some type of financials to prove that you can swing this rent, either a track record from where you came from or something else. It just depends. But a triple net lease, a lot of times, is the owner of the property, whether it's a strip mall or whatever it is, they basically lease that space to you and you have to pay for everything. So normally with a rental property, you would go in, the landlord might pay for water, he might pay for lawn care, he might pay for pest control. With a triple net, you are responsible for the taxes. A lot of times you're responsible for the maintenance, or you can negotiate a certain amount of maintenance or some parts of the maintenance, maybe just the mechanical, maybe just the roof, or maybe just the plumbing fixes, whatever. And then you're also responsible for the insurance. So you basically are only leasing out the open space when it's a triple net lease.
Okay, so I contact you. I'm trying to open up my barber shop.
Yeah.
I contact you as a realtor, and I'm like, look, send me the ones that are available. This is my budget.
Yeah.
I should be able to tell you. I want to know that if I say $3,000, $2,000, $1,000 that I could pay monthly on my lease there. If it says they're a triple net lease, that's gonna vary. Like let's say it says $2,000 on it, right? But it's a triple net lease. Usually, how much is it really that I'm about to pay for?
Right.
Yeah. So that's gonna be case by case. So what I can tell you is it's gonna be more than $2,000. So the list price, if we put you on a search and you say I only want properties in a certain part of the city, all right, cool. The list price is just gonna be the rent price. So it's gonna say $2,000 a month, right? The reason why the true cost is gonna be a variable because when you go to get insurance, they're gonna underwrite you personally. They're gonna ask for your credit a lot of times, and depending on what a shop is, if you leasing a shop in New Orleans East, it's totally different from leasing a shop in River Ridge or in Metairie. And the type of insurance that the owner might require also varies. So now you got to stack that on top of the $2,000. So you got $2,000 just on rent. Well, now you got insurance, right? So also in that listing, the owner might say tenant is responsible for lights and water. Well, if you scaling up as a barber shop and you want 6 stations, well, now you got $2,000. Let's call it another $1,000 a month for insurance. These lights gonna be running. This air conditioning is gonna be running. You got people washing hair, so that's another expense on top of the rent and insurance. Now you have utilities that you're responsible for, right? Another variable is the taxes. depending on where it is, if you're in Orleans Parish versus Jefferson Parish, you could be looking at a tax difference, you know, a couple hundred or a couple $1,000, depending on, you know, what part of the country you're in. So we know our people in California, the property taxes may be one way. People in Texas who don't pay no state tax, but their property taxes are way higher than anywhere else, that's a cost that the owner is gonna hand off to you. So that list price of rent is just the beginning. So if you budgeting for $2,000 a month, you might really need to look for something that's being leased out for about $40 a month, and you're gonna get up to $2,000. I'm joking, but I'm saying that's how quick it could tick up on you. So something that's listed at $2,000 may also end up costing you about $5,000 a month, and as an owner, you know, now you're gonna have to hand that cost off to all the barbers, a stylist in your shop to try to make a cushion for that.
Okay, going back towards that, and I'm gonna add it on with the lending part. Do you specialize more on just towards somebody buying properties, or do y'all also do it towards people trying to start a business?
Properties.
Properties?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And now going back to the lease with that here, I would ask, so you're recommending for the person to have a relationship with the realtor and them to be able to let them know, hey, can you just put in my list searching properties that are not triple net lease? Is that possible? Can you do that where they can get a better calculation?
You could do that.
Or they all come like that?
No. Everything's negotiable. So the only challenge with that is whenever a realtor enters a listing into the MLS, sometimes they designate that it is a triple net lease, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they have assistants in the office that just enter it, and some of that information might be missing. So if you add that filter, you may not get a property that you might really want. So it's my recommendation, because it's free to look. I would just say put me on a search for everything, and then just read through the description of, you know, whether it is a triple net lease or not. But I can't stress enough that everything is negotiable. And if you got set up on a search and you got a property and it says it's a triple net lease, but it's been on the market for 351 days, or it's been on the market for 1,071 days, which they have commercial property that's like that. I know if I own a property and somebody want to lease it, it's been sitting on the market for 3 years, because commercial space is different. Like you want a long-term tenant, like a Walmart or a Family Dollar, and once they leave, depending on where that property is, it could sit for a couple years empty, and me as the owner, now I have to take care of all these costs. So any cash coming in right now is a benefit to me. So strategically, I would just say send me everything. Now you can add that filter, but you may end up losing out on something to where you could really make an offer to somebody and they'll take it, you know, out of desperation. And that's the good thing about when you move into that commercial space. It's just not a lot of buyers in that market when you look at the lease properties like that. So especially in a strip mall and in certain areas of town, when they got 3, 4, and 5 openings for lease, like, man, anything is attractive to an owner.
Man, there's so much
So make
to learn.
the offer is what I'm saying. Make the offer.
Yeah, so much to learn and so much deeper that we can go into it. But I definitely, my prayer is that this is not the last time I see y'all two here, and we can definitely be able to dive into different conversations, you know, and things like that. This is very helpful, right? But I think today we got like a very broad view of everything that goes into this. So I want to do just to be able to close off right now, just a breakdown of what this looks like, backtracking to things we've talked about. You need to have these important relationships with your accountant, right? This is like, if you calling your homegirl or your homeboy, you need to talk more to your accountant than your homeboy and your homegirl. All right? You need to be that cool with them, ask those questions, and really know your numbers. You know your numbers, you know your business. Because if you don't know your numbers, you don't know if you can afford property for your own house. You don't know if you could afford even to lease out 800 square feet, right, to be able to run and operate your business from there. So you need to have that relationship with your accountant. Two, you need to be able to have a relationship with a lender and also a realtor for them to be able to guide you in this whole process. Now remember, I'm gonna act, I ain't no accountant, but I'm gonna act as if I'm the accountant, right? Then Randy, you come and talk to him, and you're gonna pick his brain and all the consultations that you want with him to be able to go into how much you're gonna get approved for. And then once you get approved in that area, you're gonna talk to a realtor for him to guide you or her to guide you the best direction on where to invest your money in that market specifically. Make sense? Yeah.
Perfect.
In a nutshell, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, man. Praise the Lord, man. Well,
Yes, sir.
man, I pray that God really continues to bless y'all's relationships, y'all's business, and at the same time that we'll be able to just educate people on this, and we continue to grow, man. So I'm definitely challenged today in a good way to be able to continue to be consistent in all these different areas where it seems like nothing is moving, but history of that day-to-day transactions is really laying brick by brick to be able to bring everything to the next level, right?
Absolutely.
Hey, fellas, thank y'all so much for being here today. I don't know if y'all want to close off or something. Feel free to be able to do that.
Sure. So first off, just want to say thank you for inviting us again. Thank you for sharing this vital information to the barbers, the hairstylists, and just the community in general. Because this is not taught in school. We already know it's not taught in high school, not even taught in college. Financial literacy is typically taught in home, but if the environment that you're in is not aware of it, then you can't learn. So, just kudos for everybody. And shout out to everybody that's watching the videos, because at the end of the day, it's gonna be about transformation. Notice, this wasn't a charge. Like, nobody charges you anything because information is free, but transformation is the mission. And so we hope you take this knowledge and actually take steps, right? Take the action steps, like every single day, in full faith and full belief that it will get done because you have a plan. And as you take those steps, you're gonna look back and you're gonna be able to connect the dots. But just know, you cannot connect the dots looking forward. But you gotta trust that they're gonna connect because you're following the plan.
And we're gonna get these guys information. They're gonna be on the screen. We're also recording. I know we're live on some platforms, but we're gonna record it. We have it recorded to be able to share how they can contact them, their phone number, the business phone numbers, or the different platforms on Instagram or websites where you can be able to reach out to them.
We have an event July 8th, definitely. So be on the lookout for that. It is another setup just like this, but on steroids. It'll be in person, but it'll also be live stream. And we just want to invite everybody that's just trying to take this property ownership to the next level. A lot of people say it's not a good time to buy. In my opinion, any time is the right time to buy. You just have to buy the property at the right in the right way in the times that we are in right now. And if your excuse is insurance, if your excuse is interest rate, hey, they gotta go down. They're going up, they gotta come down. So that gives you an opportunity to get at least in a place that you want to be in while people are standing on the sidelines. Because when they get competitive again, if you can remember back in COVID when people were paying $15,000 over the asking price, and you were sitting there and you were qualified and you could not get in the neighborhood that you wanted to get in, that's why now is the time. If you all qualified, give me a call. Let's get the process started. July 8th again. Personal properties, investment properties. We'll have title attorneys there. We'll have credit repair people there to talk about it. Also, on the realtor side, I'll be there to guide you through the process. We'll have investors in the room also. So I just want to invite everybody. And last thing, I want to challenge everybody, because we can see everybody that's on the live. We can see everybody that watched it. Just apply one thing that you saw today. I know it was a fire hydrant full of information. Just take one, even if it's just text a CPA or just Google CPAs in my area. We satisfied with that. Just call any mortgage broker as long as their name Randy Chambers. Just text or just call or just DM, and then that's all we ask for. Just apply one thing that you saw today, and we satisfied. We feel like that's a win for all of us. So
that's it. Make sure to hit the like button, share, comment, subscribe.
that's it.
Peace.
Peace.